Hey everyone, this is James from TDB, bringing you another Inbetweenisode. Today, I am not going to be drinking tea, but instead I'm going to be talking about different vendors where you can buy semi-aged pu'erh from. As many of you that have followed the channel know, this is most of what I drink or buy. I'm not buying a whole ton of tea these days, but when I am, I'm looking at kind of teas that are already probably 10 to 15 years old at this point. In my opinion, these offer the best value for what I'm after. I don't drink a lot of young tea. I don't particularly enjoy it as much as other teas. It does not pass the speed test for me. So as a result, it makes a lot of sense to buy tea that's 10 to 15 years old. I think what I found, and I think what a lot of people have found, is that this doesn't necessarily mean you're compromising on quality of the leaf. Because there's a variety of reasons why tea will go up in price over the years, but sometimes there are just teas that, for whatever reason, just haven't picked up in price, and the price of new matcha is often getting more expensive and more expensive. So those dynamics can create this market where semi-aged tea, especially if you can find the right ones, is, in my opinion, a better value than younger tea. New vendors also tend to get specialized in young pu'erh. I think there's a couple of reasons for this. A lot of it is probably just it makes more sense as a business going to the mountains and stuff like that. If you're really going to the source and things like that, you're not going to find a lot of necessarily semi-aged tea from people in the mountains. You would find that more where people are kind of dealing tea. So vendors more based in Hong Kong or whatnot. In my opinion, a lot of the best deals I found might not even be from vendors. This is just something, kind of a caveat worth mentioning. A lot of them come from a random person has a deep connection with someone, we got to buy a certain amount of tea, so they're through a person. But I think there's a lot of value in the vendors that are mentioned here, and I see nothing wrong with recommending them. The best deals, even if the best deals are places that, might have a place or a tea that they have neglected to bump up in price, that sort of thing. The vendors here, you can order a lot of tea, you can get samples, you can get a lot of repetition and whatnot. So there's a couple different areas that these vendors tend to get categorized. One is they are specialized. Some are specialized in kind of their own brand of pu'erh. Others are more general and offer kind of a variety of different tea. First of all, I kind of came up with a list of 3, and then I asked Steam Milk if he had some others that he would mention. And so he gave me kind of a big list of things. So I'll run down through those at the end and just kind of places that you can also get tea from. And I'll talk about why these 3 vendors, for me at least, stand out a bit. So first up, I have Teas We Like and Yunnan Sourcing. Teas We Like is very well curated. They have a good job showing you a different range. The problem with Teas We Like is a little bit higher end. The samples aren't always easy to order or things like that. So it's not, you can't spend $100 and try 15 different teas quite as easily as you could from someplace else. Nevertheless, I think their tea is very good. It's very well curated, and I think it does a very good job of showing you a range. So if you're really not price limited, I think Teas We Like is good. Yunnan Sourcing is good for very different reasons. It's also somewhat curated. It's also fairly generalized. Scott does a good job of categorizing the tea by different storage region, but it's a very good place if you're just getting started and you don't want to spend the money for Teas We Like to just try a lot of different teas. And you'll probably have some that you prefer over others. The same would definitely be true for Teas We Like as well, but you're going to find stuff that is very representative of the different areas it's sold. So you can buy a bunch of Kunming stored tea from Yunnan Sourcing, but you can also buy a lot of Guangzhou or Xishuangbanner, which is also fairly humid, stored teas from Scott as well. So I think those 2 really stand out. The other one is Essence of Tea, and I think this kind of lies somewhere between the 2. Where I checked their site, and they do have a good amount of semi-aged to offer. They've at times been based in Malaysia. I think they might still be based there. I'm not totally sure. They've been based in Yunnan at different points too, I think. But they have a lot of variety as well. Teas that have been stored elsewhere. They also have done a decent job at curating kind of different tea that they've encountered throughout their journey. So I think they're worth mentioning too. Okay, so now we kind of get into more of vendors that are a little more narrowly focused. So first up, we have LP, Liquid Proust. He's on Etsy. Apparently, they don't even ship to Canada, so perhaps this is just if you are U.S. based. Good deals for sure on Liquid Proust. He really is not charging huge markups at all. So I think a lot of people are familiar with him. So definitely someone that has done a good job of curating different connections and things like that throughout the years. Next up, Yee On Tea. So this is kind of, if you want traditionally stored stuff, maybe not the best place for kind of your traditional semi-aged stuff. You're getting something that's very Hong Kong-y for the most part. Next up, a little bit less Hong Kong-y, but somewhat, is Sunsing. This is another Hong Kong-based vendor. They, I think, it varies, but they could be a little pricier than Yee On, depending on what tea you're looking at. Another one, so this is kind of a house vendor, so specialized in that. Yangqing Hao, if you order from them, they have a lot of semi-aged tea available. Sampleable, maybe, kind of depends on Emmett and what he's offering at the time. But a lot of their storage is based in Tainan, which is in southern Taiwan, so you're going to get some fairly hot and humid storage. It's not, I wouldn't call it Hong Kong traditional by any means, but it's not dry either. You also have Wistaria, who has stored a lot of their tea actually in Hong Kong, but it's on the drier side of things. Urchin, they have a lot of house pressings that are now starting to get up to that age. This is Shanghai based, so their storage on average is going to be a little bit drier than the other ventures mentioned. The other house brand vendor that Steam Milk mentioned too is Teaside, so this is Hontong Chang, which is a lot of Thai style pu'erh, if you want to call that. The other one that I kind of had flagged that Steam Milk also flagged was King Tea Mall. This is probably this is a good place to get factory tea. So there are a number of controversies with them, and perhaps it is because they are associated with factory tea, things like fakes and things like that. I have not been able to dive deep enough into those to really say for sure how often they sell fakes or not. I've actually never ordered from them, but I think if you want to order stuff from like a Taobao-like place that has a lot of different options, I think they sell samples too. This is still probably a pretty good option because I think they mostly don't sell fakes. I think probably, at times they have stumbled upon stuff that's not real. So, you should approach this with a little bit of caution, trepidation, but I think for the most part you can get stuff that is generally reliable. Okay, now and a couple others that are just worth mentioning here. Jade Leaf, more of a generalist, based in Taiwan, so a lot of stuff is going to be Taiwanese stored if you are a fan of that kind of storage. Stock cycles through. Hou De Fine Tea, these people have been around a long time. They used to be called Hou De Asian Art. They have a lot of Taiwanese connections, but they're based in Houston, so they may have bought tea 15 years ago and have been storing it themselves. In my opinion, their storage is certainly a little drier than most of kind of the East Asian options that you're getting at, like Taiwan or Hong Kong, but it's not bad. And they're really kind of subject to when stock goes in or out. So these last few really are kind of, if you really, really want to dive deep and check out some other ones, I would say the top three you could just order from those and not order from the other ones if you so choose. And the last two are Tea Masters and the Guide to Pu'erh Tea. The Guide to Pu'erh Tea we've featured a number of times on the site. And he's someone that is a collector based in Thailand. Smaller lineup, a little more expensive, also sometimes a little more aged than semi-aged. Tea Masters, mostly Taiwanese tea, but they'll have a cake or two that pops up here or there. Taiwanese based too. Okay. So that just about wraps up this Inbetweenisode. Let me know. There's a lot of different vendors. I quickly realized when I asked Steam Milk that there are a lot of vendors that sell different semi-aged teas. I think for the most part, if you're just starting out, I would definitely try to stick with those three vendors at the top. So Yunnan Sourcing, Teas We Like, and Essence of Tea, depending on what you're after specifically. I think you also should not be afraid to order internationally. I think ordering domestically limits your options quite a bit. So I think take the plunge, do a slightly bigger order, and I think you'll be rewarded for that in the long run. Okay, thank you everyone for tuning in. I will see you all next time. Cheers.